All right, Jesse on fire. Let's go. Out of nowhere, live in the middle of the afternoon. Got some time to talk. We're going to talk about a few things. We're going to talk about Khabib Nurmagomedov's offer to Ciryl Gane, which he rejected, which I am going to be I'm not going to go light about this. Because at first glance, the reason Ciryl gave for not wanting to let Khabib train him might seem like an honorable one at first glance. And I'm going to explain to you guys how it's not. It's a short-sighted one, in my opinion. As a father, I could comment on what he said, and I think it was very short-sighted. Also, we're going to talk about this Chito Vera against Cejudo fight because this thing is a setup. One of the most brilliantly made matches I've ever seen. The matchmaking on this is absolutely brilliant. And I'm going to explain to you exactly why. Anytime there's a fight that gets made and everybody's excited to watch it, you're like, oh, great matchmaking. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when you have the lay of the land, when you have the whole entire lay of the land, and you see, because you have not just one fight that matters to this one. You have 3 total fights in this equation. It is brilliant matchmaking. So it's all, honestly, this fight is a setup for O'Malley. That is exactly what this fight is. And I'll explain to you guys exactly what I mean, because there are so many different ways that these 3 fights can go. And there's a great outcome for UFC no matter what, in every single scenario. And so that is what we're going to talk about, at least until we get through with those. And then we will rock and roll and talk about other things while we let other people get on. I just wanted to say this. I talked about that nootropic drink in, a couple times last week. And listen, anytime that you stick your name on anything where you recommend something to your viewers, I'm very careful about, I'll promote products on the channel. I always vet them, of course. There are a few products I genuinely love, like Sheath and, Yo Kratom, etc., like the ones that I plug all the time. But on the flip side, this is the only product where I'm like, this is mine. This is my product, the nootropic drink. And so many people bought it that I was super, super nervous. I'm like, man, I hope people like it, dude. I hope people like it. And I have gotten so many messages now that it's landed where they're like, dude, this stuff, this is the anyway, everybody loves it. And I am very, very happy about that. If any of you guys have tried the product, put it in the chat what you guys thought. The link's in the description if you want to try it. It is the cleanest up on earth. I feel amazing. But anyway, so let's start with the Khabib thing. So Khabib came out and he offered to train Ciryl Gane, and he basically, so keep in mind, Ciryl Gane, in his last 2 fights, he was at the top of the division. He was the interim champion. He fought Francis Ngannou, and he got wrestled. He got wrestle-fucked for 3 rounds and lost the fight when he was up 2-0. Then he fights Jon Jones. We all know what happened there. So Khabib offered to train him, and Ciryl rejected this offer. And when I first saw that, I immediately clicked on it. I was like, wait a minute, dude. There's no what possible reason could there be for him to not want to do this? And he said basically he can't, he can't leave. He's got 2 daughters. He can't leave his family for 2-3 months and go to Russia to train. It's just not something that he can do. And at first I thought about that and I was like, all right, I can, I guess I can respect that. I have 3 daughters, being away, wait, what? Sorry. I just got distracted by a comment. I can respect that. It would be very, very hard for me to be away from my kids for that long. But when I thought about it a little bit more, I realized as a father, that's the incorrect way of looking at it. you think like, oh, I'm being a good father because I'm not going to leave my kids for 2-3 months, whatever it is, right? Like, I don't want to leave my kids for 3 months. Okay. All right. Well, you are a professional fighter, right? You're a professional fighter who's gotten exposed as having an absolutely blaring gap in your game, right? Like, you have a blaring gap in your game. And some, like, it's like, it's a nice thought, like, oh, I don't want to be away from my kids for a couple months. But if you go out and you win the world championship, then you'll be able to afford to give your kids a much better life. You know what I mean? It's like, whatever you've been doing is not going to work if your goal is to win the title. I think that's a fair thing to say at this point, unless they had some absolute, fluke, absolute like fluke run of heavyweight champions who are super striker heavy, where just being a fantastic striker can take them all the way. I can't imagine that being the case. So you have a skill set you need to shore up. Think about this, dude. When Francis Ngannou fought Stipe the first time, he was coming out of the same camp. How'd that go? He got wrestle fucked, right? He got just wrestled into the ground. You know what I mean? And then he went to Extreme Couture and he focused on grappling. I mean, obviously not for a lot more than 2-3 months. And Francis's grappling has been forever changed. I mean, dude, he fought Stipe again. He shook him off like he wasn't even there. Now, do I think that you can make a world of difference in your grappling in 3 months with Khabib? Yes, I do, actually. I do think that. Training with those guys for that, like the way that they training 2 times, 3 times a day for 3 months, you can make enormous leaps and bounds in your grappling. And so it's like, you think about it like an investment, Of course you'd rather see your kids every night, obviously. But like, we're not talking about some random strong grappler. We're talking about Khabib. Khabib offered to let you train in his camp. You go. Your wife can manage the kids for a couple months. You'll come back a tremendously improved fighter. I also would imagine that his trainer probably advised against it. I'll tell you guys this. My jiu-jitsu professor, Victor Hugo, just won the world championship again a couple weeks ago for the 3rd straight year. Cyril's team offered to have him come out to train him for the Jon Jones fight, but Victor couldn't do it. He's like, I'm not going to go to. They weren't paying enough for him to go to France. Daniel De La Noche, thank you very much. Dude is crazy person actually turned down an offer to learn wrestling for MMA from Khabib. I totally agree. Thank you for the super chat very much. I completely agree. It's like, listen, I will say this. If you don't have kids, you can't understand, but I do. It would be awful, but I'm pretty sure they have Wi-Fi in Dagestan. So you FaceTime your kids at night, FaceTime your kids at night, and you go and you do what you got to do. In my opinion. That is my opinion. All right, so let's also talk about the Chito versus Cejudo thing. Cornrows McGruber. Oh, I threw him on there because I'm sure we're going to talk about him. I've done 3 videos about his case since we last talked. So after we talk about this Cejudo and Chito Vera matchup, I assume that everyone will want to talk about Conor. But let me go through this again, or go through it really quick, because I say again because I basically filmed an entire video about it. Then I was like, you know what? I think I want to go live and talk about this so I can interact with you guys while we do this. I don't do that guy. I don't do that. I don't do the thing that you said that goes in my nostril. I never do that stuff. Anywho, but yeah, so I saw the Chito and Cejudo matchup, and I thought to myself, wow, like that was like a notable enough matchup that I immediately I'm on a group chat with Chael and Shab, and I sent it to them, and all of us were like that. I don't know, that was like a whoa matchup to everybody, kind of. But as soon as you actually sit back and think about it, you're all, okay, this actually makes all the sense in the world. Like all the sense in the world, right? Because O'Malley is essentially the new Conor, right? Like the up and coming Conor McGregor. And when you think about how Conor's opponents were selected and how O'Malley's opponents are selected, he's in this class of fighter that is very, very different. There was Masvidal that was in the same class, Nate Diaz, who's in the same class, although Nate Diaz could fight anybody and it didn't matter. O'Malley and Diaz was in this different class because he wasn't actually chasing the title, right? Masvidal still was, all the way up to his last fight. All the way to his last fight. He's he's still one fight away from a title shot. And so with those guys that can really, really drive numbers, and they're like fights that they can make that'll really drive numbers, they're thinking multiple fights ahead. So when you make Cejudo versus Chito, think about how this actually plays out, dude. You have 3 fights in play. You have Cejudo against Chito, you have O'Malley against Sterling, and you have Umar Nurmagomedov against Corey Sandhagen, okay? So basically, just take the first 2 fights initially, right? If O'Malley beats Sterling, and I realize that's a tall order, but if O'Malley beats Sterling and Cejudo beats Chito, which seems very likely, then you get to do Cejudo against O'Malley for the title, right? Now, I think it's very likely that Cejudo beats Chito. Just stylistically, it's a bad matchup for Chito. And not impossible. I'm a fan of both guys. But but nonetheless, it's like, I just think stylistically it's a tough fight for Chito. Just bottom line. So if Cejudo wins and then O'Malley loses, then you get to do the Chito versus O'Malley rematch, right? So okay, so basically if O'Malley loses, he fights Chito either way, right? Like if O'Malley loses, he fights Chito either way because Chito is not one fight from a title shot because he just lost to Sandhagen. So it gives O'Malley a really, really great landing point regardless, either way, right? Because, because if Chito wins, that means Cejudo will have lost 2 in a row, and the likelihood that he continues after that seems probably pretty low. But if Chito loses and O'Malley loses, then O'Malley fights Chito, and Chito is good enough that if O'Malley wins, it puts him right back in the mix for another title shot in the event that Cejudo does beat Sterling the second time, right? Now, if Chito beats Cejudo and then O'Malley beats Sterling, then the winner of Umar Nurmagomedov against Corey Sandhagen will fight for the title. You know what I mean? It's like with that matchup, they have literally set it up to where there's no bad outcome. They have a big fight with 2 great guys, no matter what. And think about this, dude. You have the top 6 active bantamweights in those fights, right? Like you got the top 6 bantamweights that are active right now in those fights. And that doesn't include Merab or Peter Yan. Think about how bananas that is. Like how good bantamweight is. Think about that, dude. Think about how stacked 135 is when you have those 6 guys and then you pull and you don't even have Merab or Peter Yan. Insane, dude. Insane. All right, let me look at this chat real quick. When is UFC going to bring back tournaments? Never, Slowy G. I mean, this is kind of that. Sterling won't be beat unless it's a Cejudo rematch grab. Okay, oh, that reminds me. Okay, so here's the other thing that I was going to say. So this is Cejudo. I'm sorry. This is O'Malley's first title shot, right? It is the same career-wise as when Conor was fighting Aldo, right? It really is almost exactly the same because when O'Malley fought Peter Yan, that honestly at the time felt like an interim title fight because people thought that Yan won both of his last 2 fights, right? People thought Yan beat Sterling both times. So now he's fighting against O'Malley and people are like, dude, he's pretty much the champion. Like Yan is pretty much the champion. So that basically was an interim fight, the same way that Conor went into the Aldo fight having just beat Chad Mendes. So he goes into the Aldo fight. Not a single person in the entire UFC, not one person in the UFC, not a single analyst, not one person on earth, except for Conor's team, picked Conor to win that fight. No one. And that is because Aldo had not lost in 11 years. He was the number 1 pound for pound guy. It was literally as it's equivalent. It's basically equivalent to if some loudmouth guy came into featherweight and then was calling out Volkanovski. And he hadn't fought anyone even in the stratosphere of Volkanovski's skill set. No one would have picked Volkan. No one would pick that guy. Every single person would pick Volkanovski to win that fight. And then Conor starched him in 13 seconds. It's like the most unbelievable outcome ever. So O'Malley, in this situation, first of all, no one is going to pick him to win this fight. You know, not really. Everybody is going to pick Aljo. But the outcome that would be equivalent to Conor versus Aldo is if O'Malley submitted Aljamain. And it's not impossible, dude. I mean, it's unlikely, but it's not impossible. He tapped out Takanori Gomi. You know, I said, that was pretty funny how that happened, dude. I was on a live stream talking about O'Malley's grappling, or I might have done a video. And I started talking about his grappling, and I'm like, dude, there's a video of it. And I mentioned that there was a video of O'Malley. I can't remember if I actually said Takanori Gomi, but I was like, actually, you know what? I'm going to do a separate video about that. The video is 5 years old that I had just seen it like earlier that day. I went to jiu-jitsu and came back 3 hours later, and Guru had already done the video. Beanie off to Guru for getting on it that quickly. But yeah, so like there's that video of O'Malley in a grappling match against Takanori Gomi 5 years ago. And he strangled him. You know, he tapped into a guillotine. O'Malley did. That's 5 years ago. Everybody who knows anything about his jiu-jitsu says it's very, 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 very good. You know, like I've said in my other videos where I covered this, Willie Carney, thank you for the super chat, good sir. I think Sterling is moving up after this fight. Who knows, dude? He's going to be saying that no matter what. I think it's just going to keep on being, one more Merab. Just I'm going to do like one more Merab. Just one more Merab. But, like stylistically, when you look at this fight, Wayne, thank you for the super chat. I enjoy the show. How can I buy Beniv? I live in Canada. Unfortunately, good sir. Maybe we can figure something out. Email me. I would have to like personally send it to you. Maybe you could Venmo me and I'll personally send it to you. Shoot me an email. Thank you for the super chat. Anyway, so if you look at it stylistically, obviously Sterling is a guy who is exceptional at jumping on guys' backs, taking their back, body triangle or hooks in, and then just trying to strangle them. And O'Malley has that kind of body where it's very challenging for him to make his neck disappear. You know, you've got those big, long, lanky limbs. Very, very useful for triangles, for darces, for all kinds of things that I'm very envious of. But if someone gets on your back, you know, the advantage of these stout guys like me is like, all right, you know, like I do anytime anyone is about like if someone's going to pass my guard and I can feel I've lost a position, I'll just roll the turtle every single time and I'll just give him my back every time because I can make my neck disappear. I'm extraordinarily hard to choke. It doesn't matter how good someone is, just because like you can't choke something that's not there. You know what I mean? If you're really good at hiding your neck, I mean, it's obviously like I get choked sometimes, but like it's much harder than it would be, you know, against someone who's not built like I am. And O'Malley, it's not like he can't do this. Like he can't do the thing that I'm doing. Like it's not possible. He's too long. You know what I mean? And so if Aljo gets his back, it's just going to be very hard to not get strangled. You know, it just is what it is. But, you know, Aljo's going to shoot. And again, we have not seen O'Malley's jiu-jitsu at all. Seriously. Like we haven't seen everybody like thinks that, no, dude, it's not a syndrome, man. It's a gift, you know? It makes doing triangles on big guys hard, though, because generally big neck comes with short legs and arms. But anyway, so like if you think through O'Malley's entire MMA career, when have we ever seen him grappling? You know? You can go into the description of this video and there's a link. Just click the link. It's literally right there. It's in the description of the video. So, yeah, I mean, literally, you go through his entire career, at least certainly since he's been back from his injury and the 2-year suspension. And I can't think of any significant grappling exchanges at all. Not even one. So, it's Real Jesse on Fire at Gmail. Thank you for the super chat, good sir. Real Jesse on Fire at Gmail. See, you're lanky and you have a thick neck. See, that's a gift, my man. So we just don't know what O'Malley has. It's possible that he is like a grappling wizard and no one knows. Like, that's why it would be such a crazy breakout moment if he did like out grapple Aljamain, is because everybody thinks of him as a striker that's exceptional on his feet. But it's like, oh man, but if he gets on the ground, you know, and it's like, dude, you don't know that. You don't know that. No one really knows that. And you don't know that because you can't know that. How could you possibly know that? You've never seen him grappling in MMA. You can't know that. It's not possible. If it says you're blocked, you are not in the United States. It's United States only, unfortunately. I apologize, good sir. When they say, oh man, you know, like, it's how is this legal? It's like, well, it's kind of not. It's legal in the United States. It's not legal in your country, most likely. But yeah, so what I hope comes from this fight, honestly, is I hope it turns into a grappling exchange and O'Malley wins, because that would be so bananas. But the other thing about that fight is that on the feet, I think people obviously assume that O'Malley will just piece up Sterling, and I don't think it'll go that way. You know, I mean, I'm not saying that Aljo would win in a kickboxing match against O'Malley, but this is MMA, and what Aljamain does so well is he has no patterns, none. Guys like O'Malley, guys like Anderson Silva, guys like I don't know, Peter Yan, guys like that, that download the data, they're downloading data. What they're actually doing is they're looking for patterns. They see patterns in your striking so that they can time the gaps, you know? That's why they're not throwing initially. And then when they do start throwing, they're not just throwing, they're not throwing to try to knock you out initially. They're throwing to paw at you to get you to react because they're still downloading data. Okay, if I do this, how does he react? If I do this, how does he react? They'll let you come forward. They'll let you initiate so they see what you do when you're initiating. Then they'll kick your legs so they see what you do there. Then they'll throw a punch, but really they're almost they're throwing a punch. They're almost like defensively throwing a punch. Like they're not going to commit and get like those kind of guys. You're not going to catch them with some significant counter in the initial sets of punches they throw because they're throwing them completely ready for you to counter. That's the whole reason that they're throwing them is because they want to see what you do. So they're downloading data and they're figuring out where the gaps in your game are. And then once they figure that out, then you throw and they already know when he does this, I counter like this. Now, if you fight against guys like Israel Adesanya also, guys like Israel Adesanya, okay, when they say like, oh, he sets amazing traps, right? Things like that. What they're talking about in many cases is he will make you think that you know his pattern, right? Like he'll throw the same pattern 2-3 times so that you think that you know his pattern. And he knows what you're going to do to counter that pattern. And he's waiting for you to do that so he can hit you with his counter. You know, like that's the level of chess that those kind of guys are playing. And the thing about Aljamain is there is no pattern. Like that's what he does so well. That's what Dominic Cruz does so well. That's what Nate Diaz has always done well. That's what Aljamain does well. There's no pattern. There is no there's no rhythm. There's no pattern. There's nothing to time. Like that's not how they intentionally do not do that. They don't get set. They don't open the same way. It's impossible to time and it's impossible to pattern match because there isn't one. And so guys like O'Malley who are great at figuring guys out, finding the openings and then lighting them up, they'll have much less success against a guy like Aljamain. That's why Peter Yan had such a hard time with him, you know? But, O'Malley has a lot of, that doesn't mean O'Malley can't hurt you without that. O'Malley has weapons where O'Malley can hit you with things from so far away, like, the spinning back kick to the body. He's dangerous, but Aljo is longer than people give him credit for too. He's much longer than people give him, give him credit for. So I don't know. I think it's going to be a little tougher on the feet for O'Malley than people think. And also when it comes to Aljo, you can't just be looking for, because you have to also be worrying about him shooting and grabbing your leg, Wayne, thank you very much, good sir. You don't disagree with my politics. It's impossible. What on earth is there to disagree with? I'll tell you this. What? Hang on for a second. Okay, whoever. Hang on for a second. Dude, people are such pussies. Jesus. Wait, hang on. Wait, what? Where is that? Hang on for a second. Conor McGregor accuser just destroyed her own case. Oh, I see why. That's funny. Anyway, so That's amazing, dude. So you guys know in my live stream when I did the thing about where I was like, hey, whoever can make the funniest joke about the girl will get a certain product. A ton of people reached out to that company complaining. They're like, did you see what this guy was doing in your video? Fucking pathetic, dude. People are fucking pathetic, dude. Jesus. I can't with people, dude. I seriously can't. Oh my God, I hate the world, man. They're such sorry asses. Did you see he was body shaming this girl and then talking about your product? Oh, geez. Who the fuck does that? That is amazing, dude. That is absolutely amazing. Anyway, yeah. He's body shaming people. Shut the fuck up. Anyway, so I don't even remember what I was talking about. I don't know. Maybe. I literally don't even remember what I was talking about. Exactly. Man. I am telling you right now, dude. If I ever found out that one of my kids did that, you know, like if I ever found out that one of my kids did that, they're like, if they were watching a video or watching a live stream somebody did who started making fun of some girl who made a fake rape allegation and was like, hey, whoever makes the funniest joke about this girl who slandered this guy got caught lying. This girl got caught in 18 lies, completely fabricating this story about this guy. So, hey, whoever, makes the funniest joke about her gets a free this, If I ever found out that one of my kids reached out to that company to narc that person out, I swear to God, I would disown them. I would be like, you are not a part of this family anymore. Go live on your friend's couch for a year until you can figure out what you did wrong. You pathetic little sorry ass. Jesus. Literally. Just like that. Anyway. That's the first time anybody's ever reached out to one of my sponsors, dude. That's the first time that's ever happened. No one does that shit in your face, dude. Fucking pussies. Anyway, so what else was I talking about? No one cares about Conor. You sure? The view counts would dispute that, my friend. Let's see. Conor video. Let's see. 30,000 views, 51,000 views, 40,000 views, 22,000. Yeah, no, people care, dude. People care. All right. How I'm going to spin the story? I mean, pretty straightforward. Yeah, they're cool. They were like, dude, can you take it down? Because people are complaining. I'm like, sure. They're cool. I'm talking about the people who would actually go and narc me out to us. It's like, are you serious? Who does that, dude? No, I'm not. I took the drink today. Do I buy subscribers? No. You want to know what's funny about that? Is Guru actually sent me something on Instagram where he was like, hey, there's something up with your social blade like there's like inconsistent like subscribers, and I looked and it was like he was looking at my TikTok, or whoever was talking about it was looking at my TikTok, which I don't use at all. Like and oh, shocker, weird. The subscribers like numbers jump weird on TikTok. Yeah, no shit, because China is putting bots on all of those. It's not my YouTube. Because when you search me on Social Blade, it defaults to my TikTok for some reason, and you have to actually you have to click over to YouTube, and then search it separately. So yeah, no, I don't even fucking, how would you buy subscribers? Anybody who knows anything about buying, I mean, I don't even know anything about it for YouTube, but if you know anything about people who like buy follows on Instagram, it literally destroys your Instagram forever. Like it describes it forever. Because because when you add people and they don't engage with your content, it tells Instagram that people don't like your content, you know? So it's like, so they won't recommend it to anybody. And so you get no engagement at all. That's like the best way. That's why sometimes you'll see if you go to someone's Instagram and you go and you look and it says like, because all anyone ever looks at just to check a person's credibility is like, oh, how many followers they have. And it'll be like 48,000 followers. But then if you go to their pictures, it's like 4 likes. You're all, oh yeah, 40,000 followers and 4 likes. All right. It's simple to see if people are buying engagement, because just look at their likes and their comments. You know what I mean? It's like that's easy. If someone has 30,000 views and they've got whatever, let me see here. So like, whoa, that one got a lot of, yeah. So like 60,000 comments, 24,350, 450, 500. Yeah, I mean, like, dude, every single video that I do has 300 to 1,500 comments. There's no one who knows anything about how this works that would think that I buy anything. Power slap it, yeah. Here, but check it out. Yeah, whoever told Guru that is an idiot who doesn't know how to read Social Blade. Check it. See, this is what they were talking about. You search Jesse on fire. What the? And it goes like this. And then like, this is what they were looking at. So it's like this weird, like minus 100, plus 100, minus 100. But this is not Jesse on fire. This is TikTok. And I never, ever, 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 ever even use it. Like, look, minus 300 for the last 30 days. Cool. You know what I mean? Uploads in the last 30 days. I did 2 uploads randomly, like in the last like week. But yeah, so that's why. So he said that people told him that in his live stream. So whoever told him that is a fucking retard who doesn't know how to read Social Blade. This is TikTok. Do I have 289,000 followers on here? No. That's China with the bot system. What else we got? All right, I'm out of topics that I was going to talk about. Ask me a question. I think someone I just saw someone like, "Hey, why do you swear so much on here?" I'm like, "Dude, I didn't swear once until I got the email that someone narked me out to my fucking sponsor." As soon as something like that happens, I start swearing. No. Are you serious? They put him back in jail? Oh my God, they charged him. Oh my God. I got to do a video on this. All right, I got to go, you guys. I'll be back, or I'm gonna do a video. This will be up soon. Unreal. If you guys want to try that nootropic, the link is in the description. It's amazing. You'll love it.